7:57 a.m. The morning air felt heavy as E Jean Carroll settled into her familiar chair. The coffee beside her had grown cold, much like the routine that brought her here once again. 8:03 a.m. Judge Kaplan walked in with quiet authority. No drama, just business. "Donald Trump will not be present today," he announced matter-of-factly. The silence that followed was deafening. 8:06 a.m. The courtroom doors swung wide as Blake Warren, Trump's attorney, strode in with purpose. His expensive suit matched his aggressive approach. "My client isn't running from anything," Warren declared boldly. "He's taking a stand." Judge Kaplan remained unmoved. "Fine. Let that stand cost him $5 million. Warren's voice rose with defiance. "Your Honor, we believe the three-judge panel made serious errors. We're formally requesting a full court rehearing." Kaplan's gavel came down with finality. "Request rejected. Decision stands. Case closed." 8:13 a.m. Warren slammed a thick file onto the table like he was playing his ace card. "The panel ignored public manipulation and systematic prejudice against my client." Roberta Reeves, Carroll's lawyer, couldn't hide her frustration. "Systematic prejudice? You mean the system he treated like his personal megaphone?" Kaplan raised a skeptical eyebrow. "We plan to take this higher," Warren continued. "The Supreme Court needs to hear this case." "Go ahead," Kaplan replied dryly. "This is America. Even the foolish can file appeals." Warren regrouped quickly. "With respect, this case threatens political speech during critical national moments." Reeves leaned in sharply. "Attacking someone after sexually assaulting them isn't political debate. It's defamation with a platform and a microphone." Judge Kaplan's eyes moved between them. Two separate juries examined the evidence. Twice they reached the same conclusion. "I have no interest in hearing the same story a third time." Warren's tone dropped. "The First Amendment protects—" "Not recycled lies," Kaplan cut him off, "especially when juries have already put a price tag on them." Then E Jean Carroll spoke. Her voice was gentle but sharp as a blade. "He wants the battle, not justice. Even when he loses, he gets media attention." Reeves added pointedly, "And she's still waiting for an apology, not legal bills." Kaplan leaned back thoughtfully. "Miss Carroll, do you consider his continued statements to be fresh defamation?" Carroll took a measured breath. "He said it once. They made him pay. He repeated it. They made him pay more. Now he's saying it again. Maybe this isn't speech anymore. Maybe it's become a pattern." Kaplan considered this carefully. "Do you plan to file another lawsuit?" Reeves answered before Carroll could respond. "That depends on whether this court believes defendants get endless opportunities to reoffend while appealing their penalties." Warren exploded. "Objection! This is character destruction." Kaplan didn't flinch. "Mr. Warren, your client destroyed his own character repeatedly on camera, complete with hashtags." Another heavy silence filled the room. Reeves cleared her throat. "We request immediate enforcement. The escrow account is ready." "Confirmed," Kaplan replied. "If the Supreme Court denies his petition, the funds will be transferred immediately." 8:19 a.m. A phone buzzed. Reeves checked it, then showed Carroll the screen. The message was brief. "Trump just went live. Never met her. Don't even know who she is." Carroll's expression didn't change. It simply hardened. Warren tried to dismiss it with a smirk. "That's disbelief, not defamation." 8:21 a.m. Carroll stood up. Her voice was crystal clear and colder now. "You think repeating something false makes it defensible? He's not expressing disbelief. He's challenging me again." Kaplan studied her with quiet intensity. "Is it worth returning to court?" He thinks I'll run out of anger before he runs out of cameras, she answered without breaking eye contact. Warren scoffed. Maybe she just wants more publicity. Reeves turned on him like a laser. She didn't sue for headlines. She sued because every time he says it, millions of strangers get permission to believe it again. Kaplan pulled the file closer. This isn't just about truth anymore. It's about persistence and exhaustion. He wrote slowly, each word carrying the weight of law. Pattern confirmed. Intent established. Door sealed. Kaplan stood. This court is dismissed. 9:02 a.m. Carroll didn't flinch as Trump's live stream played on her screen again. Different suit, same voice, same rehearsed line. I've never met her. Don't even know who she is. Reeves stood behind her, arms crossed. The steam from her coffee was the only movement in the room. He memorized one sentence, Carroll observed. He recites it like a pledge of allegiance. Reeves sipped her coffee and deadpanned. At this point, he's just humming a tune in contempt of court. Are we going back in? She asked. Carroll rewound the clip 10 seconds. Watch this part again. Notice the pause before he smirks. He waits for it now, she said, like he's expecting applause. Reeves nodded slowly. We file again. New charges, fresh defamation. Same lie, Carroll replied, but now with clear intent. That's what they call it when you lie with a straight face while holding a court order, right? 9:07 a.m. Miles away, Judge Kaplan received a printed transcript. No markings, no commentary. He read it once. He didn't shake his head or sigh. He simply opened the case folder labeled Carroll v. Trump and wrote with finality, Pattern confirmed. 9:10 a.m. Reeves was already preparing documents. You want this formal? She asked. Make it surgical, Carroll said. No emotion, just facts. We could push for injunctive language this time. What does that accomplish? If he speaks, he bleeds in court again. Carroll chuckled. He's addicted to bleeding, his blood or mine. Reeves looked up. You're still not angry? No, Carroll replied. I'm tired, but that's his strategy. He bets on fatigue. He bets we'll quit before he does. Reeves nodded again, but slower this time. And if he loses that bet? Then we stop echoing, Carroll said, and start erasing. 9:18 a.m. Trump was still broadcasting live. The background kept changing. Now a golf cart, now an oversized flag. I don't know her. Never did. Total scam, total fraud. Witch hunt. Carroll muted it. What kind of person, she asked quietly, gets convicted for defaming someone, then replays it with better lighting? Reeves didn't answer. She was busy formatting legal exhibits. We'll use the new clip, timestamp it, tag the repetition. You think Kaplan will hear it again? Kaplan already heard it. He filed it before we even drafted our response. Carroll smirked. That man writes sentences shorter than Trump's attention span. Reeves clicked through her folders. Do you remember the first hearing? Which one? The one where he said he couldn't testify because rain might ruin his hair. Carroll burst into laughter. God, I had forgotten that. Reeves grinned. I haven't. I build cases on patterns. He builds PR on punchlines. So how do we respond? Reeves said nothing for a moment. Then, with a better pattern. 9:24 a.m. Carroll picked up a manila envelope from her desk corner. She hadn't opened it in months. Inside were photographs, courtroom sketches, copies of headlines. One page contained Kaplan's quote from the second verdict. No truth becomes safer by repeating a lie. Carroll held that page longer than the others. He thinks repetition erases context, she murmured, but sometimes it does the opposite. It stains. Reeves tapped her laptop. We'll file Monday. You want press involved? No cameras this time. Just court. Silent filing. Let the echo go unanswered for once. Let it bounce off walls. Reeves paused. You think he notices? Carroll looked at the muted screen. Trump was waving, his face split in a triumphant grimace. He always notices silence, she said. It's the only sound that makes him guess. 9:33 a.m. The blinds were partially closed in Judge Kaplan's conference room. Just enough to block the sun, not enough to block the tension. Blake Warren, Trump's lead counsel, smoothed his tie and tapped a legal pad on the oak table. We're filing with the Supreme Court, he said. Our client has the right to seek review. Kaplan didn't look up. He opened the Carroll file, thumbed to the back, and said, This is a civil defamation case between two private individuals. There is no federal question, no constitutional injury, no ladder to climb. Warren leaned forward, careful but firm. The ruling creates a chilling effect on political discourse. Public figures, especially candidates, may hesitate to engage robustly for fear of being sued. Kaplan's eyes didn't blink. Is your client running for office or running from accountability? Reeves suppressed a smile. Carroll remained still. She watched Warren the way one watches a lawyer bluff on a weak hand. No fear, only calculation. Warren pressed on. Your Honor, the overlap between public commentary and political identity is complex. The overlap between cruelty and commentary is less so, Kaplan interrupted. Warren bristled. He denies ever knowing her. Kaplan looked up. He denied it on national television twice, after two separate verdicts. That's not confusion. That's contempt. With respect, Warren replied, denial does not always imply defamation. In this courtroom, Kaplan said, truth is not optional. It's sworn. Carroll shifted slightly. He says the same sentence, she murmured, each time louder, as if volume makes it legal. Reeves added, or as if daring the law to get bored. Warren opened a binder. We're also raising concern over prejudicial media narratives. The environment surrounding the jury pool compromises fairness. That elevates it to federal interest. Kaplan flipped a pen in his hand. Your client creates the environment. He doesn't enter it. He hosts it, then complains about the crowd. He's a polarizing figure. Naturally, the press follows. He leads them, Kaplan said, then sues the map. Warren was growing taut. We request emergency relief. The reputational damage is ongoing. Kaplan raised an eyebrow. Reputation. After two judgments, one televised smear campaign and a social media rerun? Mr. Warren, reputations aren't eternal. They're earned or lost. With respect, Your Honor, the stakes are historic. Kaplan leaned back. Then let history decide, but don't dress his stage dive as a constitutional leap. Silence lingered. Then Carroll said softly, he doesn't want a verdict. He wants a rerun. Warren snapped. She's not entitled to decide motive. Reeves countered, neither is your client. Yet he declares her a liar with no evidence. That's his belief. Kaplan shut the file. Belief isn't a shield when truth has already been litigated. Warren stiffened. We'll be filing within 24 hours. Kaplan nodded. File it. But don't confuse a staircase with a ladder. The Supreme Court doesn't climb just because someone yells from the basement. Carroll leaned in, her voice like a thread of steel. And if he climbs, he better have more than the same sentence and a louder mic. Kaplan stood. This court is adjourned until the next echo. 10:04 a.m. Headlines blazed across morning broadcasts. Trump faces $83 million judgment again. Beneath the scrolling ticker, pundits smirked. Some laughed, some didn't. Carroll didn't blink. She held the transcript in her hand. The one from his rally in Dayton, and another from Tampa, and another from Grand Rapids. Each had the same line. I never met her. Don't even know who she is. 3 states, 3 podiums, 1 sentence. Reeves slid a folder across the table. He said it again. Carroll didn't lift her eyes. He memorized it. Kaplan's voice returned in memory, clipped and clear. Should this behavior recur, the court may find the repetition aggravating in nature and subject to escalated penalties. Reeves leaned forward. He's inviting us back. Carroll exhaled. Or daring us not to. Across town, Blake Warren stood in front of a Fox News banner, spine stiff as rebar. This isn't defiance, he said. It's consistency. Our client is expressing a belief. That's not contempt. It's conviction. The anchor raised an eyebrow. Isn't he worried about another lawsuit? Free speech doesn't expire after a jury ruling. If anything, this proves he's sincere. The panel nodded. Someone muttered, Alpha move. The Chiron read, Trump strikes back after $83 million hit. Back at the office, Reeves paced. It's a trap. If you sue, he plays the martyr. If you don't, he claims vindication. Carroll didn't move. She read the transcript again, slowly, every syllable predictable. He doesn't want a courtroom. He wants a sequel. So what do we do? She looked up. We wait. Reeves frowned. For what? For him to forget which lie he told last? That afternoon, Kaplan received a confidential memo. His clerk read aloud the key phrase. 3rd repetition, 3rd state, post-verdict. Kaplan underlined it. Pattern. No gavel dropped, no bench order, but the echo had returned. 8:12 p.m. Trump took the stage in Des Moines, red tie, clenched jaw. He leaned into the mic like it owed him rent. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Never met her. Total fiction. Cheers, flags, phones recording, and one CNN intern in the back texting, got it again. Warren backstage smiled. 4 times makes a principle. Meanwhile, Carroll poured herself tea. He's not campaigning, she said quietly. He's rehearsing denial. Reeves sighed. He's turning the verdict into a tour. She folded the Tampa transcript. What's the strategy, really? Reeves shrugged. Fatigue. Maybe he thinks you'll give up before he runs out of rallies. Carroll didn't answer. She walked to the window. Outside, the city hummed. Inside, the air held silence. The court warned him, but he wants the escalation. Reeves nodded. Public defiance. Private dare. Carroll held the papers, then said, File a preliminary. Reeves blinked. You're sure? I'm not angry, she replied. But I'm not quiet. She paused, then added, almost to herself, he thinks shame fades faster than truth. 9:27 a.m. Carroll's office. The blinds were open, but no light came in. Reeves laid out a thin stack of documents. If you go back to court, there's no guarantee the outcome will resemble the last 2. Carroll stirred her coffee. I'm not asking for resemblance. I'm asking for record. Legally, it's a harder case. He didn't name you this time. He didn't even say the word rape. Carroll tapped the folder. He said, never met her. That's the only phrase he remembers, and he makes sure millions hear it. The First Amendment covers political opinion. That's what they'll argue. She sipped, silent for a beat. So do we let him win just because he picked cleaner words? Across town, Warren stepped into a press conference with deliberate calm. The president has the right to maintain his innocence. That's not malice. That's not defamation. It's defense. A reporter raised his hand, but courts ruled against him twice. That doesn't strip him of speech. He didn't name Miss Carroll. He didn't insult her. He simply restated disbelief. Isn't that splitting hairs? Warren smiled. Justice is in the nuance. 11:08 a.m., Kaplan's chambers. A clerk highlighted the transcript. Kaplan read slowly, lips tight. He said it again with full cameras rolling. Post-verdict, post-award. Kaplan closed the file. 3 words repeated with intention. That's more than disbelief. That's doctrine. Is it enough? It's not the number of syllables. It's the number of times. Back in Carroll's office, Reeves turned to her. If we sue again, the media will crucify you. Say you're obsessed. Say you're punishing a politician for having an opinion. And if we don't? Reeves didn't answer. Carroll stood. They always ask if I'm doing this for publicity. Never ask why he keeps talking. He's baiting you. He's daring the system to blink. Reeves sighed. You've already proven your point twice. I've proved he lied. I haven't proved what the lie cost. That afternoon, MSNBC aired a segment. Is Trump weaponizing speech? A legal analyst offered, we're watching a dangerous evolution. The louder the verdict, the louder the denial. It's not free speech. It's tactical repetition. On Twitter, "Don't know her" trended for 6 hours. Most tweets were sarcastic. Some weren't. Kaplan reopened the case file. There are verdicts, he said quietly, and then there are echoes. Reeves handed Carroll a draft complaint. Ready? Carroll looked at it. I'll never win public sympathy, but I can still win public record. 9:02 a.m., Federal Courthouse, Southern District of New York. A knock. The clerk entered, holding a sealed envelope. Kaplan didn't look up. That the confirmation? Yes, Your Honor, filed this morning. He sliced the seal, read, nodded. Defendant Trump has deposited the full bond. $83 million certified. Shall I notify counsel? Tell them the court has memory and the docket has teeth. 10:16 a.m., Carroll's attorney's office. Reeves scrolled through headlines. Trump posts $83 million bond in Carroll case. Still denies wrongdoing. You'd think paying 8 figures might spark some humility? Carroll skimmed the article, then flipped it shut. He's not paying to lose. He's paying to talk louder. Reeves looked over. He paid because we cornered him. Cornered? He thinks it's a loan, not a lesson. Across Manhattan, a Fox anchor chimed in. The former president, under protest, has complied with the legal requirement. Let's be clear, this is collateral, not surrender. Back at the courthouse, Kaplan reviewed a transcript from a previous hearing. Giuliani's a different woman, same game. Giuliani offered apologies, excuses, and delays, then bankruptcy. He looked at the clerk. And what came of that? Nothing. She won. He vanished. Kaplan turned the page. We don't let verdicts evaporate here. 12:32 p.m., Trump HQ. Blake Warren stormed into the room, brief in hand. We've done what the court required. $83 million escrowed, posted, certified. A junior aide mumbled, Will it be enough? Enough to delay, not enough to silence. The room nodded like choir boys. Tell the press it's a formality. Make them think he's being robbed. The spin machine revved. 10:05 p.m. Carroll's voice returned. I don't need him broke. I need him accountable. So what now? Reeves asked. Now we watch him squirm. No stage, no rally, no mic can rewrite that transfer receipt. 2:10 p.m. Courthouse hallway. Kaplan stepped to reporters. The court confirms receipt of the bond. Will that halt further proceedings? A journalist asked. Kaplan paused. The law does not confuse payment with penance. 4:22 p.m. MSNBC panel. A constitutional scholar pointed at the screen. This is about Giuliani 2.0. But Kaplan saw that movie? The host asked. So this time, different ending. Yes, Trump signed a security agreement. No wiggle room, no walking away, no Chapter 11 escape clause. 7:13 p.m. Carroll's home. A single candle lit on the table. Justice is not the verdict, she said to Reeves. It's the part where he finally stops thinking he's untouchable. Reeves raised her glass. To the end of excuses. At exactly 3:07 p.m., the fax machine in Kaplan's clerkroom hummed to life. A single sheet sliding out with mechanical indifference. No legal fanfare, no press release, just two printed words from the Supreme Court of the United States. Cert denied. Kaplan didn't flinch. He reached for the page, skimmed it, and let it rest on the corner of his desk like a chess move already anticipated. Around him, the walls of the Second Circuit courtroom exhaled in silence. No gasps, no reaction, just the ambient weight of closure. Down the hall, E Jean Carroll sat at the far end of her lawyer's office, flipping an untouched pen between her fingers. Her phone buzzed once, then again, then a third time. Reeves stepped in without knocking. It's in, she said. Carroll didn't ask what. She just nodded. Her face didn't shift. That look of measured patience, the one she'd worn through depositions, trials, headlines, and hashtags, stayed firm. Reeves handed her the paper. Carroll didn't read it. She didn't need to. So, Reeves asked, is this it? Carroll leaned back, eyes drifting to the ceiling like she was reading the air for meaning. You ever hear a fire alarm go off in a dream? She asked. And even when you wake up, it's still ringing? Reeves tilted her head. This the part where I pretend to understand your metaphors? No. Carroll smiled faintly. This is the part where we realize the ringing never stops. Elsewhere, Trump's team had already drafted their response, not to the court, but to the crowd. At 3:24 p.m. from behind the golden-trimmed desk at Mar-a-Lago, Trump launched his live stream. The camera angle was tight, the lighting theatrical. He leaned forward like a man betrayed by an empire he once believed in. This country, he said, has forgotten what justice means. The Supreme Court had one job, to protect free speech. They failed because they're afraid of a woman who couldn't take a joke. Back in New York, Kaplan reviewed the document one last time before filing it away. He didn't speak. He didn't need to. His silence was a signature heavier than any ruling. Reeves, reading over his shoulder, whispered, So that's it. Kaplan finally broke the quiet. Justice doesn't always wear a robe. Sometimes it just keeps the door closed. By 4:10 p.m., Fox was already running the headline, SCOTUS refuses Trump free speech case, left wins again. CNN took a different tone. Final denial. Supreme Court sides with lower court in Trump defamation case. Carroll didn't watch either. She packed her bag slowly, methodically. Reeves watched her, curious. You're not going to say anything? The lawyer asked. What would I say? Carroll replied. That a billionaire got told no and threw a tantrum? That truth beat spin for once? Reeves shrugged. That you won. I didn't win, Carroll corrected. The country remembered how to say enough. A few blocks away, in a dim office still reeking of overbrewed coffee and burnt ego, Trump's legal counsel tried to reach him. He's not answering, Warren muttered. He's live on Truth Social again. And saying what? Asked Blake, scanning his phone. That the court's corrupt, that the deep state blocked him, that Carroll's part of a smear machine. So? Same script, different day. At 5:01 p.m., the Supreme Court's decision was officially archived. The denial was simple, clear, final. There would be no en banc rehearing, no constitutional reconsideration, no redemption through delay, just two words on a page, words heavier than any gavel strike. Cert denied. That night, Carroll passed by the courthouse one last time before heading home. She didn't stop, didn't take photos, just walked, one foot after another. The sidewalk didn't cheer and the sky didn't part, but something felt quieter. Behind her, somewhere in a gilded echo chamber, Trump was still talking, still blaming, still rehearsing a version of history where he never lost. But the courts had answered, not with a speech, not with vengeance, not with spectacle, just with a sentence so short it echoed longer than anything he'd ever said. 9:17 a.m. The courtroom door never opened again. Carroll didn't appear. Kaplan sat behind the bench without his robe. No reporters, no cameras, no flags. The fax machine clicked twice, then once more. A single sheet slid out. 6 words. Appeal denied, case closed, execute judgment. No one stood. No murmurs. Kaplan said nothing. He stared at the paper like it had been typed years ago. 10:04 a.m. At the central office, Reeves handed the fax to Carroll. She didn't take it. "It's over," he said. She smiled, not joy, more like release. "It's not over," she replied. "It's just quiet now." She sat down, opened her laptop, rested her hands on the keyboard, but typed nothing. Yet. 11:28 a.m. Trump posted on Truth Social, "Rigged, fake system, fake victim, fake court." The post hit 84,000 likes in 10 minutes. Warren texted Reeves, "New post, same script." Kaplan didn't reply. He was writing something else. 3:12 p.m. The court clerk filed the final order. Judgment to be enforced. Trump's legal team sent one email. Our client reserves his right to free expression. Kaplan didn't respond. He scribbled across the folder. The court has seen enough. 5:03 p.m. Carroll typed the first line. He said he didn't know me. She paused, then deleted it. She retyped. He remembered me just enough to lie again. Then continued, and I remembered just enough to answer once more. 9:44 p.m. No interviews, no press releases, no podiums, just one post on a blog. Comments disabled. At the bottom, only this. Some verdicts are shouted. Others don't need words. Truth doesn't clap, it stays. She logged off. Truth doesn't win a trophy. It doesn't wave from a podium or dance under confetti. It doesn't flood the headlines. It waits in silence in the cracks between outrage and exhaustion. E Jean Carroll didn't walk away victorious. She walked away still standing, not because the system clapped for her, but because it stopped bending for him. There were no fireworks, no cheers, no public declarations of redemption, just a woman who answered a lie twice in a court that finally chose to listen, not perform. The cost of truth was time, money, peace, privacy, and the patience to be called a liar until the system blinked. But it stayed. It didn't waver. It outlasted the noise. And in a country obsessed with volume, that was its loudest victory.